Hello.
Is it just us?
It is.
How about that?
I know Stacy's calling on. She messaged me. And Christy has a photo session. And Bonnie's going to be late.
Okay.
That's all I've heard from.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. So I think that went really well with Megan last night. I don't even know if I even said anything to you after that.
I don't think we did talk after that, but I think it went well too. And then I talked to her more after because she stayed on the phone. So I talked to her more after about getting to people and who she thought they were and all that good stuff. And she sounded like she was going to talk to them today. So, and one of them she lives with. And I was talking to her about like how to approach them and all that good stuff. Like, obviously, there's a couple different ways you can do it, but she was like, I'm super comfortable with them. I think I can be pretty direct about it. So it sounded good.
Good. Yeah. I was really excited about that. Hey, Stacy.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Good.
Still
Good.
sucking down my shake.
Are you eating it? Are you eating it with a spoon?
Yeah. Well, I don't like to waste any of it, so I just like when I get down to the bottom, I just scrape the edges with my spoon.
Yeah. Good. Hey, Dr. Bruce. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
I'll have to be in and out, but I'm going to watch this and then I'll watch the recording.
Yeah, and then we'll talk because I want you to see that last recording and then tell me when you're done with that because then our talk will make a lot more sense.
Okay.
I know it did for Stacy.
Yes.
After you watched the video.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, guys, we're going to get started because I know Bonnie's late and Christy has a newborn session and I didn't hear from anybody else. So we'll go ahead and get started. But all right. So first of all, great job this week and last week and every week. But I just feel like things are really shifting even faster and faster. And I feel like we're getting the business builders on and we're just moving a lot quicker, which is exciting. And we've got to stay at that tempo up until Thanksgiving because we'll kind of go through a little bit of a dead zone between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I mean, it just is what it is. And we're going to do everything we can do though to put on the 28th, we're going to run an accountability challenge to try to carry people up through mid-December. And then we'll be able to start selling packs for New Year's. So we're going to do everything we can to keep it rolling. But these next 4 weeks are really next 15 days, 16 days are really important as far as getting everything in place for January 1st. And so you want to make sure we're really pushing right now. But, and so far we've talked about a couple of things. We've talked about driving your business, that you're the leader, you're driving your bus, people are going to get on, they're going to get off, and you're going to keep going. You're not going to hold anyone on your bus. We talked about that. Then we talked about really your role as a leader and that your boss is your executive chart, that your executive chart is what should rule and direct every single thing that you do every single day. And if that's not ruling your work, you're not duplicating yourself and you're a glorified salesperson. And none of us want that. None of us want to be selling shake when we're 90 years old. We want to work our way out of that. And so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk specifically about focusing on your own chart. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about helping others to develop their executive chart. But today, it's about your chart, your personal chart, your you plus 2, them plus 2, 5 times. That's what we're going to talk about. And really not only your you plus 2, them plus 2, 5 times, because there's a big difference between having you plus 2, them plus 2 and having a strong you plus 2, them plus 2 times 5. There's a difference between being an executive and having a duplicated business center where there's you out and 10 other people working. And that's really what we want. You out working, 10 other people out working. And so we're going to talk about developing that on your own. And so the first thing that you want to realize is this statement, that you've got to get the oxygen mask on your own face so you can really help other people get the oxygen mask on their face. Meaning that your personal business center has to be moving and going and full of life and energy, and you're bringing people in and you're building them up in order for you to go forward. Otherwise, you buy into people's excuses. You're gonna, it doesn't move as it does, or as effectively as it does when you yourself are building your own and making sure your own center is super, super strong. I feel like executives tend to make one of two mistakes, and there's really a balance between both. And so the first mistake would be to really focus tremendously on your personal work. Like, I've got this person, they've got two, and just stopping there and continuing to bring in a bunch more personal people. That's one mistake, because there's no duplication in that. The other mistake is they bring in one hot person and then they just put all of their attention on this one person. That is detrimental, because what happens then is when you have this one person that you're just putting all this focus on, you become very attached to them. Your paycheck becomes attached to someone else, and so you've got to get between that. And so, that's what we really want to do. Once again, I'm going to say this over and over again: your chart is your boss. Your executive chart is your boss. That's the track that you run on. It's what's going to give you duplication. So, in your own personal executive chart, you want to use that as a projection sheet. And I know that we touched on this yesterday, but we're going to dig in a little bit more. On that chart, you want to have listed out anybody you already have on your team. If they are dead in the water, they're never going to work, you're always having to revive them, you're going to erase them off of that sheet and be real, because you're the CEO of your multi-million-dollar business. And so the speed and growth rate of your business is determined by you, not by the people on the sheet. So does that mean if you erase them off the sheet that you don't love them? No. That you don't believe in them? No. But it does mean that maybe they're not matching your tempo. And so you need to look at that. Is there anyone that you need to erase off that really you're continuously having to drag along? If they need to be erased off, erase them off so that we can move forward and build something amazing. Your executive sheet should be a projection. So you're projecting out who else you want on it. You're projecting what you want that to look like. And so make sure that you're doing that. So think about, who do you want to have on that sheet that's not on there? Who do you want on your team? You're really going to think about that. Now, we're going to go through the next two things very quickly, but we're going to come back, and these will be individual topics in a couple of weeks. But I feel like next week. But I feel like I want to lay this groundwork for you so that there's no question. Even though in a minute I'm going to talk so much about business builders, because I believe that where you're at in the business, your business and the fast growth of your business is going to be dependent upon bringing in other like-minded people like you. However, we cannot deny the fact that 85% of our business is built on product users. So on that chart, when you're looking on that chart, you've got to be able to look at that, and you've got to think, has every single person that's on my chart, have they all had a strong back office training with Team Destiny Online? Have I at least told them that they need to do training calls with me? Have I at least told them how to do a curiosity post? And am I following up on that? That needs to become your question. So sometimes people will say, well, I don't have time to do that and build my personal business. And my answer to that is always, you don't have time to not do that, because it's going to take you less time to duplicate through the people that you already have. And if you have a new person, if you have 3 new people and they all do 5 training calls with you, that's 15 training calls that just happen down through your organization. If it's you yourself getting people, think about the work that goes into you personally finding those 15 people to talk to. You're posting, you're grinding, you're chasing them around, where you have these people on your team that can quickly and easily spew off 15 new people, training calls that built your foundation. It duplicated you. It is more business savvy to build down your team than it is to think, oh goodness, if I do that, I can't, you know, my personal business. You're going to do both. We've already talked about you're doing both, but you got to look down that team and who has not had back office training. You've got to think about that. And I do not mean who knows how to change their auto ship. That's not at all what I'm referring to. I'm referring to, did you teach them how to make a curiosity post? And did you talk to them about doing their 5 training calls? That's the first thing that you've got to look at when you look down that opportunity sheet. You will find this absolutely amazing when you go down. If you have 5 people on your sheet that have never done their training calls and you do back office training with them, that's 25 opportunity shares that you can get in this week for your business. That's 5 new associates. That's 6,000 in volume. I mean, we leave money on the table because for whatever reason, we get scared to dig into our team, but you've got to dig into that. Remember, you're driving your bus. You're driving it. You know where you're going. That chart is yours. Just because you're doing 5 training calls for someone else, you're not doing their job. You're duplicating, you're building your bus, right? Your chart, your bus, you're driving it. You're filling it up. Okay. Now, the next thing that you've got to do is you've got to make sure that you maintain strong product systems at all the time. The longer that I do this, the more, I guess, upfront I am about this. Isagenix does not have the product systems in place for you. People will say that all the time. Just bring them in. They'll figure it out. Not true. Not true at all. Not true. Not true. And so you've got to make sure that for that chart, you have strong product systems in place. So are you running those 11-day accountability challenges? You should be running them for 11 days, taking off for 7 or 8. Running them for 11 days, taking off for 7 to 8. So you want to make sure you're doing that. Why? Why are you doing that? You're doing that to help those people that are on your sheet deep down into that team. That's how you're driving the product. That's how you're keeping the product infused in their body. You're making sure they're using it correctly. That's where you're helping that 85% is by getting super product focused down through that. Now, you might be in a place as an executive that you're so busy building that you need to have those people in my accountability group. I am okay with that. I know that you know that at any point they need to fall into my group. I'm okay with that. I do think that it's important as an executive at some point that you're running that group yourself, because I think there's something about your voice, your, you putting your spin on it, your touch on it, condensing those groups so that they're smaller. I think there's something about that, but you've got to make sure that people in your system are plugged into that. That literally has been our key to retention this last year. I mean, we started these last fall. We did our first with Eric Dacey and Mallory and Tony Temple last fall. And so they're very, very strong. They're very, very good. So you want to do that, get them plugged in. So make sure that you're offering that down through those teams. We're going to do a whole training on making sure that your accountability system is tight, but that's for another day. So, and on that chart, first of all, you're looking at, has every single person had back office training? The next thing you're looking at, has every single person, are they plugged into the product accountability groups so that you're staying on top of that? When you have product results, the business is super, super easy. When there's no product result, the business is hard. And so that elbow grease sometimes that we don't think we have time for is retention. It's a lot easier to retain someone than it is to go out and find new people. And so make sure that you're doing those things. So I'm saying all of that because I want you to understand that the product is still this business. You know, it's what makes it go around. It's what makes things function, that type of thing. However, if you're on this line or you're listening to the training, you have said to me, I want to make 100,000, and you're hustling and you're grinding to get up and over that amount of money to max out those centers, to get to 100, 150, 200,000, whatever it is. And so the key to that is going to be duplication. I do not know very many true network marketers unless they got a really lucky spot, which you can, because this comment, a binary in particular, is very subjective. You can actually have a really good spot and make more money than someone else that's working double hard. But whatever's whatever. But unless you have an amazing, amazing spot given to you, or that you're in, it is really unlikely that you're hitting six figures without deep duplication. So that is where you're going to find success. Now, that brings me back to that chart where you're really, really looking at it. The next thing you want to do is you want to look at your charts, and with the people that are currently on your chart, does every single one of them understand the business opportunity? Do they understand that they could make money? And I am not talking about you plus two, them plus two. I'm sorry, that is not the business. That's how to get referral money. There are not people that lay in bed at night and are stressed out and think, how am I going to get my Isagenix paid for? But there are people all over this world that lay in bed at night and think, how am I going to pay my mortgage? I'm exhausted. What am I going to do? There are people on your team, and if you are not clearly communicating how they can make a significant amount of money, they are not going to do it on their own. You cannot send them a video and go, watch this video and call me. It does not work like that. It works like that with one personality type, and that personality type is a white personality type. And there are not that many self-starter whites. And so you're sending the reds and the yellows, the people that are impulse, moving fast. When you're sending videos, they're not watching them. Or they're watching them, multitasking, paying no attention. So if you have someone on your team that you feel like has amazing business opportunity skills, they can do it, they could be sitting dormant and you could be thinking, what's wrong with them? What's wrong with them? Well, a confused mind does nothing. And if they don't know what to do, they're not going to do it. If they don't understand their track to run on, they're still wanting it, but they don't know what to do. And so if you have people, and even inactive people, look, it doesn't matter to me. Is there someone, and I'm not talking about raising the dead. I'm not talking about in any way pouring into anyone that lacks energy, that drains your energy. Are there people on your team that if they did the business would be dynamic at it? Not people you feel sorry for, and you're not looking for sheep. I read this quote last night that said, wolves lead sheep, but real wolves lead wolves. And you are looking for that personality that's going to run with you. You want to find leaders to lead. So do you have any of them on that chart already or in that tree already? It can be deep down. It does not have to be a personally enrolled person. I know we talked about that yesterday, and I just keep grinding on that and hitting on that. But my best people are not my personally enrolled. They're just not. I mean, I have angels getting ready to turn consultants, but most of my team that is really, really hitting it right now, I mean, she's getting ready to go executive, but most of the people other than her that are really, really hitting it are not my personally enrolled. And so recognize talent on your team. And then what you've got to do is you've got to get it in front of them. Now, humble yourself that if you need help with that, get me to help you with it. Don't just feel like, okay, well, I'm going to talk to this person about the business. Unless you've seen me present the business 8, 9, 10 times, what I would do is I would get that person already on your chart. I would say, you know what? I was asked about who on my team might be amazing at the business. I thought about you. Would you get on the phone with Amy? Will you take a look at it? Because I would love for you to do this. And we'll get on the phone with that person, and I'll teach you how. We'll duplicate it. I'll teach you how to go over that with them so that we cast vision and see whether or not they want to do it. And so it's a little bit like we give them a vision and a baby step. And so we'll do that together. Now, a lot of you have heard it 8 or 9 or 10 times. And so you're ready to go. You're ready just to go call those people. So that's the first layer you want to look at. It's so interesting because I drove to Columbia and met with Christy. I wish she could be on so she could really probably show this better. But she had been super frustrated. I mean, I'm just being honest. She was sending me messages like, so-and-so's fallen off. I might not be an executive next week. What am I going to do? Like totally stressed about our team. And I was like, okay, we've got to meet. So I drove to Columbia and we met and we had one meeting and she was like, oh, well, I've never presented the business like this at all. And so literally 2 or 3 days ago we met. And now it's totally changed the tempo of our team. We started meeting with our team. She has all these people doing calls. We've started working with business builders. I mean, she messaged me or she called me yesterday and she said, hey, I know I'm annoying you really bad, but I have this going on. And so it's like all of a sudden everything's just hopping and popping in her business. But the only thing that changed is her mindset. It's still the same people. It's not new people. It's the same people. But for some reason, it clicks in her mind, oh, I'm leading leaders. I'm not selling product. I've got to lead leaders in order to duplicate and make the money I need to make. And so make sure that you're realizing that. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about then is what I feel like is the most important piece of all of this. And that is on this chart, you've really got to project out who you want on your team. Now, before I even say this, I'm going to defend what I'm saying. Like, I'm defending it right now. I almost went to school to be a lawyer, and maybe I should have. But anyway, I'm defending it right now. So I just want to talk about who's on this line right now. So invited onto this call are not very many people. Like not very many at all, but there's Mallory, C.D., Shalane, Bonnie, Gail, Christy, Dr. Bruce, and Katie. Now, people will say to me all the time, Amy, 85% of this business is based on product users. You've got to go after the product users. And I did that for 3.5, 4 years. I did that. Because everything within me felt like that was wrong. My first 5 months, I went after business builders, and I had the highest growth I've ever had. But then all of a sudden, people started saying to me, no, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And I had this wild spirit in me where I'm like, okay, I don't understand how this is. I don't understand how going after product users is going to help me multiply my business. But I did it, and I did it well, and we grew. But about 6, 8 months ago, I was like, okay, it's so boring to me, and it's growing so slow. Now, 85% of my team are product users. Do I believe in the product? Absolutely. Do we teach it? Yes. Do we have tight product systems? Yes. Has it changed my life? Absolutely. However, every single executive on my team either came in for the business or they were already entrepreneurial. And when they walked onto the scene, I knew they would be amazing at the business. I do not have one executive that is not the case with. It's not. And so let me just pinpoint that for you for a second. So Mallory has built her parents' social media business herself to over 100,000 people. I mean, her parents have the largest bakery in Branson. They're entrepreneurial. That's all she knows is an entrepreneurial life. Her degree is in business. So when she came in looking for business. Look at Dr. Seavey. Yeah. Seavey, she's a chiropractor. She's all about nutrition, blah, 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 blah. I know all that. However, they have the largest practice in St. Joe, and her husband and her own 6 other businesses. Don't tell me she's not an entrepreneur. She is. She was already who she was before she came in this business. You look at Shalane. Shalane was an Arbonne executive. Her husband has a they're entrepreneurial. They are, no doubt about it. You look at Bonnie. Bonnie says all day long, I came in for the product. She's a network marketer. She was in the top 2% of another company. She's a business builder. Gail always says to me, Amy, I only came in for the product. True. However, don't tell me the girl that milks goats and sells them and makes goat soap and has grass-fed cattle and was a $100,000 Mary Kay producer is not entrepreneurial. She is. So Christy was like, oh yeah, I only want the business. But Christy's owned like 6 businesses. She's a photographer now, one of the best ones in Columbia. Huge business. Dr. Bruce, he has the largest chiropractic center in North Kansas City. So these people are all entrepreneurial already. I want you to grasp that. It's not like they're like these little wilted flowers that weighed 600 pounds and then we help them lose weight and now boom, they're entrepreneurial. It doesn't happen like that. So don't fool yourself. Don't get into that, because these few people, this nucleus of people reached out and got 300, 500, 600 people. They taught the progression, and that's how it thrives. That's how, whether I work or don't work, I'm going to make 6 figures. It is not based upon a cotton picking thing I do. It's based upon the fact that there are entrepreneurial spirits all throughout this team. And I think that I've not done my job in communicating that. And so with that being said, I think that you have way more power and control over your success. I think sometimes what we do, because we hear product driven, is we try to take the square peg that has no desire to build and no natural inclination to build, and we try to like just hammer it down this round hole. You're gonna do it. Do the calls with me. You can do it. And they're not wired for it. So stop doing it. Now, you going out and find entrepreneurial spirits, that's the best thing that you can do for that person, because then you're building one of their legs for them, and then they only have to do a third of the work, and then they can get some product users and put them down there and make money. But you control that tempo. You control that pace. Know that. You're driving the bus, not them. I certainly don't want my paycheck to be attached to people that are coming in only for the product with no inclination for the business and no entrepreneurial spirit. Not me. I don't want that. I mean, I want to help them. Do I help them? Yes. Do I love them? Yes. I will drop anything to help anybody with any part of this at any cotton pick a minute. I will, because I love them. But I'm an entrepreneur. At the end of the day, that's my gift. So what you want to do then is you want to look at, because you're entrepreneurs, we already know that. So you've got to find more people like you. If you go out and you're finding a lot of broken people and people that you have to develop and that you have to rub on all the time, there's nothing wrong with that. I do that too. But if that's all you have, you don't have anybody running at your speed. And if you ever feel like you're banging your head against the wall, that is why. And so you got to fix it. And so what you want to do then with this other part of the sheet is you're thinking, okay, who do I know that could dominate at this business? Who do I know that if they did this business, they would be great at it? Don't lock yourself into who you already have. There's a whole world out there. There's a whole world. And so you want to think about who could they be? And you want to write them down, which we talked about 2 days ago. Now, what do you do with that? This is what you do. This is what you do over anyone else on this team. This is what you do because you're the top. You're the leaders. You make a decision that you're blowing it up. You make a decision, this is it, I'm blowing it up. I already know I'm talented. I already know I have a vision. I already know I've been wildly successful in other areas of my life, but maybe I've not quite ever applied that to this. Not really. And so you make that choice. And then what you want to do then is you want to call them on the phone. You want to text them and you're going to say, can I call you? You do never, ever text a business question to anyone, ever. There is no exception to that. Can I call you? I have a question. I really need to talk to you. And then when you talk to them, you're straight up with them. Sally, this is Amy. And I have been building an amazing business with a nutrition company. And right now I'm building my next wave. And I have 5 amazing leverage spots. I really want to talk with you about what I have. Will you sit down and look at it with me? I mean, we did this for Christy last night with one of her girls, and Christy is on the inside of an inside leg. That's where she is. She is so far down in the middle of a leg, nobody's putting anybody under. Jessica Motter is the only other person placing anyone. And Jessica is having a place on her other side right now for executives, so no help. And so I sat down, so we drew it out for Christy, and I was drawing out Christy's leg, and her girl's on there. And so I draw out her girl, and her girl had 24 people already on the team. She only came in for a product. Christy really didn't talk to her about the business. And so I drew it out, and Christy said, well, Christina said, well, where did I get those 24 people from? And I'm like, Christy's a hustler. Whether you work or you don't work, she's going to keep placing 24 people under you. Do you want to make money on that? Yeah, I want to make money on that. Okay, well then this is what you need to do. You want to put 5 more people under here where Christy's at, and then you're going to go over here and you're going to put people over here. That's how you're going to earn. You guys, all of you have that leverage. There's no reason why an entrepreneur would not come in with you unless you are not stating it clearly to them. That is the only reason why they would not, is that they don't understand what you have. Entrepreneurs are a different breed. Is everybody an entrepreneur? No. Stevie did this on Super Saturday. She had the room stand up. There were reds and there were yellows. And there are only like 25% of the room were red and yellow. Everyone else was white and blue. Most true entrepreneurs are going to have, they may not be all red and all yellow, but they're either going to have a lot of red or a lot of yellow in their personality. That means when you get this information in front of them, they will make fast decisions. They're not going to be this long, drawn-out thing. And then when they come in, they're going to be filling out those charts. And this is going to change the tempo for you, because you're going to go from where am I going to find people to I need to do 30 calls this week. How in the world am I going to find time to do that? And I'm not saying that to hype you up. I'm saying that as factual. I'm saying that as talent is not made, it's found. Now, and I want to cover that a little bit, because I mean, my husband his IQ is higher than my IQ. I mean, he's a smart guy. He's amazing. He knows how to do way more than I know how to do in this life. However, if he had to run this business, we'd be in the poorhouse. And he knows it and I know it, because we tried to get him to run it. He was going to run this business and I was going to run the other one. But it was like square peg, round hole, like, ooh, trying to make him do something that his talent didn't fit in. So go find, and I have to say this to you as a leader, because if I do it and I don't communicate it, then I'm not worth anything. I'm worth nothing to you. Go find people that would be good at doing what you're doing, and quit trying to make people that don't have the natural talent for it do it. It's going to change your dynamics. Does that mean you don't talk about the product? Absolutely not. I'm posting about cleanse and answering questions about cleanse today. I went to boot camp. I'm answering questions about how's this person going to lose weight. I'm doing all the product. I'm just adding in this piece of finding other people that have the talent to do what I do and getting the information in front of them. I will do them with you. You get a business builder, I will sell you to them. I will sell your talent to them in such a way that if they have the money, they will come onto your team. And if they have the money, they'll order a president's pack. And so get them in front of me. I'll do it. I'll do it all day for you. I'd rather do that all day long. Because, I mean, our systems are in place for the product. Somebody comes in and they don't have product successes because they're not plugged in. Okay, questions? Was that super harsh?
No, not harsh. Good.
Okay, any questions at all?
Okay, I have one. You said, okay, I almost need a script for this because, like I said, I'm used to approaching this strictly from the product side.
Right.
So this is way out of my comfort zone. So you said, can I call you? I have been building an amazing business with a nutrition company. And what, I didn't catch the rest of that. You have like 5 spots open. That's what you say?
You have about 5, because that's what you're going to work with at one time. You're going to bring in about 5 builders. So
Okay.
you bring them in just to know what you're selling is you're going to bring them in and you're going to stack them together, and then you're going to be adding people under them. And so they are very leveraged because of that. And so you want to show them what you're doing. So whether that person works or that person doesn't work, it's a little bit like Christy and Christina. If Christina does nothing, that leg is going to grow. And so if Christina is an entrepreneur, she's crazy to not build.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so can I call you and then, or can I say, I have a business partner that would be more than happy to explain this to you? I mean, could I do that and get them on a Zoom with you, or?
You're going to get them on the Zoom with me, but you're going to say to them,
First?
all you're going to do is say, can I call you? That's all
Okay.
you can do. And then when you call them, at that point is when you're going to say as little as possible. Like even for me, I say very little on that phone call. I say, listen, I really want to talk to you about what I'm doing. I'm doing, for me, I'm doing my next wave of growth. I have 5 leverage spots in the wave, and I know that I can leverage you in, and you can make quite a bit of money. Would you just sit down and look at this with me?
Okay.
And then you're going to book that with me on the Zoom.
Okay. Got it.
It changes everything. I wish Christy were on here. She had that photo session, but literally it has I've never seen anyone, like a light bulb come on like that. She had built everything. She had built all on product users, and she switched her mindset, and now her people are building and she's finding new people. And it's been 4 days. It's just, they had never had a leader say to them, let's do it. Come on, let me show you this. Let's look at this. And now it's like, bam. So yeah. Okay, anybody else? All right. Well, I hope that helps. If you guys think of anything, let me know. And I'll try to get this converted here in a little bit and get it up.
Awesome.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.